It's day 31 of the Sean Diddy Combs trial, and we have finally entered into the home stretch of things. We have gotten into closing arguments, and today Asus Slavik is at the podium, and she is laying it down. But as you can tell, your girl is not at the courthouse today. Oh, no. I'm playing hooky, but I got the updates for you. So stay tuned, because we're going to get into all of this hot Henny right after this. Maybe we won't. Hold on, you guys, because that was not how that was supposed to go. It was supposed to go like this.
That girl Henny, y'all got to go to her channel.
The girl Henny, do you know who she is?
She a blogger or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like, where this lady come from?
You right on your ass.
She on your life, G.
Shout out to Henny over there.
What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the bar. It's your favorite doc tender. It's your favorite doc tender, that girl Henny, and I'm about to pour plenty of the hot shots of the D-Court docs for you. So if you are new here, welcome. Please be sure to like, comment, and of course, subscribe. Click the notification bell, select all so that you get notified whenever I do a video. And if you are a returning Mob Down Henny Gang member, yeah. Now let's get all into this pour up. So you guys know that yesterday I was there for the jury charges that were going on. And there's been a lot of kerfuffle and a lot of rumbling about charges being dropped, but that's not actually what happened. And I'm going to explain it one last final time for the ones in the back that didn't catch that. The charges that we are talking about are the jury charges, which are also known as jury instructions. Now, I did make a post to my community wall here on YouTube explaining exactly what it was. So there were elements of these separate predicate acts, the kidnapping, the sex trafficking, the arson, that were removed from the jury charges, not the actual charges. So while people are out here talking about, oh, the RICO is crumbling, that's not what's happening, you guys. They removed those instructions to remove any confusion that the jury may have had as to what it is that they need to be focused on. So I just wanted to clear that up for everybody, because even the mainstream media has gotten it wrong. Can y'all believe that? I can believe it because I seen it. We living through it, so we believe it because we seen it. Anyway, today began closing arguments. Now, last night at the end of the argument for the jury charges, which were basically all just language and the way they wanted certain things worded, that's what that was all about. At the end of that, they agreed to allow the prosecution, which will be Asus Slavik, take the lead in giving the closing arguments for the prosecution or the government side of things. Tomorrow, Mark Agnifilo for the defense, because he didn't want to go after them today, will be going and doing the closing arguments for the defense tomorrow. And then the rebuttal will happen, and hopefully everything gets to the jury in time for them to be able to start deliberations, and we don't have to wait until Monday. Now, I do have to let you guys know, I told them over on my Instagram, I don't know if you caught it on my live over here, but if they don't come back with a verdict by July 4th, Henny will be giving y'all that spill from Florida. Okay, I'm leaving on the 4th of July. I will be in the air by 5:30 p.m. on the 4th of July. Henny will be in the South. Okay, she will not be in the North any longer. So you'll be getting the verdict like this. But anyway, I don't think that it was a good strategy for them to agree to allow Agnifilo to go tomorrow, because what if he takes longer than just 2-3 hours? I mean, because usually the way it goes is we get about 3 hours of court, right? Then we go to lunch, then we come back for an additional 3 hours. Now, what if he takes more than that? What if he takes the whole 3 hours and then decides to say more after lunch? And then when the prosecution gets up to rebut, they're on the clock. So they have to do it in a short time frame for them to be able, because the way it's set up right now, if he sticks to 2 hours or even 3, and he does the morning, in the afternoon, the prosecution will come with their rebuttal, and the rebuttal shouldn't take more than an hour, they said. And then by 2 o'clock on Friday, the jury should be in the back getting ready to deliberate, or at least start deliberations. But if he goes over for any reasons and decides to make his closing argument 5 hours long, and that leaves the government 1 hour to give their rebuttal, the jury may not get their instructions until Monday, which puts the judge in a pickle, because his whole thing is, we're racing up against the 4th of July, which they actually are, because the holiday is coming and people are going to rush to try to get something done before the holiday, right? So yeah, if I think they should have just said, no, this is the way it's been and this is the way it's set up and this is how it's going to go. But they gave a little to give a little, and let's hope that they don't run over just a little, because then it's going to throw everything off. And then if they don't have a verdict by July 4th, we will be past the time that they said, and we'll be running into the real time that we're supposed to be here anyway. But anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get into what's been going on in the courtroom. Now, I'm going to put these up here and I'm going to say, shout out to P. Diddy trial updates. Everybody has been, wait a minute, I don't like what I'm seeing. Wait a minute. Why is y'all playing with me and putting that little ugly duckling up there? StreamYard. Oh, anyway, I'm going to put this one up there because I haven't had that one up in a while, and that's your girl. But anyway, everyone has been using Inner City Press. Very few people have been giving P. Diddy trial updates their flowers, but they are another Twitter account that is live tweeting, and I'm going to give y'all everything. We're going to start from this morning and bring it on forward. And because we're starting from the morning and bringing it on forward, we will have everything, okay? We will catch up with the tweets. So as you can see, I was reading. My apologies, y'all. So court started, all right? And they gave you an update on what Diddy was wearing. So again, Diddy was wearing the light blue sweater over his white shirt. This is what he was wearing yesterday as well. A light blue sweater over a white button-up shirt with some gray slacks, okay? Remember, his wardrobe is limited as to what he can wear, all right? So this is what's going on. So the judge came in and the judge said, today's session after the prosecution's closing, all right? Today's session ends after the prosecution's closing, right? And then, like I just told y'all, the defense will pick it up at 9 a.m. with Agnifilo taking the reins, all right? So the jury came in, and, Slavik, she came in swinging from the get-go. I just have to tell y'all that. She came in swinging from the giddy up, all right? She said, over the past few weeks, you've seen the real Sean Combs, the leader of a criminal organization. He doesn't take no for an answer. He commits kidnapping, arson, forced labor, bribery, and brutal crimes of sex trafficking. Consider 2 key moments. In March of 2016, at the Intercontinental Hotel, he violently dragged Cassie back to what he called a freak off. Now, y'all remember that because that is the video that has been played over and over. And if you are not in the courtroom, trust me, you're not missing anything when it comes down to this video, because we've seen this. We've seen it multiple times. It's ingrained in our brain, okay? She says, and then in 2024 at Jane's home, he choked and hit her. She tried to flee. She couldn't escape. These were isolated incidents. They're chapters in the same story, a story built on silence, shame, and fear. He believed his fame, wealth, and power made him untouchable. Tell me that she didn't come in boop, boop, okay? Came in boop, boop. Now, I got to see how Agnifilo is coming in tomorrow, okay? But she said, for 7 weeks, you've heard how his staff enabled his control. We'll now turn to the RICO charges, including sex trafficking and interstate transportation for paid intimate relations workers. That's what we're saying over here, okay? Crimes that are each charged separately, too. You may think of racketeers. Groups committing crimes are far more dangerous. This was Combs' kingdom. Remember, we heard that from one of the assistants who said that he was told this is Combs' kingdom, and he's the ruler. All right. Everyone in it had one job: to serve him and satisfy his every desire, including sexual ones. The law requires us to prove just 2 racketeering elements, which is true. We've shown you far more than that. He ran the Combs enterprise. His inner circle, chief of staff, bodyguards, all of them changed faces, but their roles stayed the same. You heard about KK, his right brain, living at 2-star. Now, I didn't know that KK was living at 2-star, but apparently KK lived at 2-star, okay? She communicated with his girlfriends, coordinated everything. His security team, D-Rock, Bonds, Rube, Uncle Paulie, Fahim, were all armed, all very loyal to him. You heard about the diner incident with Suge Knight. David James told you Combs had pum-pums, firearms. I could say firearms, I think. Law enforcement found weapons during their search, a defaced rifle in LA, and 2 AR-15s with serial numbers removed. Now, y'all know once y'all remove those serial numbers, it don't matter if you purchased it legally. Once you scratch those serial numbers, it becomes illegal, okay? Hidden in his closet. These were hidden in his closet. Then there were the rotating assistants, all paid by his business. Brandon Paul made $100,000 a year. KK, 6 times that. So pause. KK was making $600,000 a year, y'all. Is that what they telling us? When your boss asks you to buy illegal substances, or when you help kidnap and confine his girlfriend after he stomped someone's face, that's criminal conduct. Now, y'all know what she's talking about. She's talking about the incident where Cassie's face was stomped in the Escalade, okay? And then she was whisked off to the hotel and hidden there, okay? The law doesn't care if they liked what they were doing. KK warned him to be less reckless, yet she still brought him cash and illegal substances. She was part of the enterprise. It affected interstate commerce, and that's all the law requires. Henny glasses in the chat if Slavik is cooking for you. You could put a 2 in the chat if she's not, and that's cool. Everybody has their own opinion, okay? Now, it says minimal. You going to work? Minimal is fine. Sean Combs just didn't just benefit from the enterprise. He ran it, okay? He was the boss. The common thread, the Racketeering Act, illegal substance distribution, kidnapping, arson, bribery, facilitating sex trafficking of Cassie and Jane, forced labor. Those are the predicate acts that they are going to. I got to put these comments on the screen because y'all are hilarious. I look over and this is the comment I see. Rule number 2, no baby oil or Astroglide. I'm done. I'm not messing with y'all. All right. Travel for commercial sex cover-ups. To convict, you need to find that someone committed 2 acts in any of those categories. 2 illegal substance deals, 1 kidnapping, that's all. But in this case, you've seen far more than just 2. Let's start with the illegal substances. The fuel of every freak-off. D-Rock, KK, and Fahim were the most involved. But many helped to keep the illegal substances flowing. This wasn't about Mary Jane. Brendan Paul himself called them hard illegal substances. You've seen the stipulations about what was found in the searches: cocaine, meth, oxy, ketamine, and dissociative, GHB, mushrooms, Molly, Tusi, a pink dyed mix. It's all in exhibits 305 and 306. The quantity doesn't matter. That's not a legal element here. The distribution doesn't require sale, just the act of sharing or moving illegal substances. Now, I told y'all, can we get some horns in the chat, please? Because I told y'all this very sentence right here, but nobody wanted to listen to me. Y'all want to call me biased. Y'all want to say that I hate Diddy. Y'all want to say that I want to see this man locked up. Y'all said all of that. But looky here. They're telling you exactly the same thing that I was telling y'all about the distribution when they wanted to fight me tooth and nail. The government is telling you this. I'm good at what I do, baby. I'm good at what I do. I just wish the defense would have put on a defense so people could have saw that I'm not that person. But anyway, I'm going to read that again. I'm going to read that one more again. So everybody knows exactly what we're talking about here, because you yourself can get caught up in some distribution if you don't realize it. Distribution doesn't require a sale, just the act of sharing or moving drugs. And I said to y'all, moving them from out of state and out the country, that's what they was talking about, okay? You know the dealers, Guido, One Stop, Baby Girl. Jane testified she was told to bring substances with her when she flew to meet the defendant twice. KK helped coordinate. Didn't I tell y'all that? Didn't I say that? Didn't I say? I hate to do this, but I have to for the ones in the back. Anyway, the text confirmed it. KK instructed Jane to swing by Mapleton and pick up the Guido package. You heard that phrase used during hotel nights, and now you know what it means: more ecstasy. Even security knew it. Guido texted Fahim saying Puff has a $450 balance with me. Diddy was owing the dealers. Diddy owed the dealers. I forgot to tell y'all. Anyway, Brendan Paul requested $780 for personal Gucci items, Gucci bag items, okay? That was code for hard illegal substances. Distribution happened. It doesn't matter that it wasn't kilos or sold on corners. Personal use is a distraction. These illegal substances were brought and passed around him. Yo, Slavik is laying this down. She's laying this down, okay? Cassie used illegal substances at every freak off. Illegal substances supplied by Diddy. Okay? Right, just vibing, not Diddy having a tab. He introduced Jane to illegal substances and gave them to her on nearly every hotel night. He gave illegal substances to Kerry Morgan, Brianna Bongalan, and even made Brendan Paul try Tusi to test its quality. Now, that is what we didn't talk about. Brendan Paul did testify to being the tester of the Tusi. D-Rock would text One Stop saying, need to see someone for bro, meaning Combs. Guido asked Fahim to cover Combs' drug debt. KK knew he was distributing illegal substances to women for what they called Wild King nights, okay? Jane told KK she was having a bad come down. KK gave her pro tips to manage it. The illegal substance distribution, plain and simple. Now let's talk kidnapping. Because remember, I was saying that this was weak. So let me see if she could sell us on this. Now, hold on. Well, now we in the parts where it's kind of murky, okay? Well, I was saying, I don't know. That ain't strong enough for me. Okay. Okay. Now let's talk kidnappings. Committed under both California and New York law. Take Cassie. Bonds made sure she didn't leave. And Roger Bonds has told this story several times, okay? The defendant called Cassie a slut, stomped on her face. She was disfigured. Roger Bonds caught her and dragged her back. Combs forced her to the London hotel on Sunset so no one would see her. She wanted her mom. He said no. Now, remember, I told y'all that, and people said I was lying, that when she got on the stand, she said she tried to leave, and Roger Bonds brought her back, and Diddy had her whisked off to the hotel, and she had to stay there, all right? Cassie never consented to being held at the hotel. David James told you Combs demanded to see his phone, wanted to know if he posted about a club assault. And then there's Capricorn Clark. Capricorn, okay? Remember this one? Capricorn was held for days in an empty Manhattan office and forced to take a lie detector test over missing jewelry. Uncle Paulie brought her to what became Bad Boys headquarters. She was tested for 5 lies. The examiner, well, I think they meant 5 days. The examiner told her if she failed, she would end up in the East River. That part I'm still not convinced on. They didn't sway me on that. The Cassie one, that one's a little stronger. But this one, they still haven't swayed me with that one. Okay, they haven't swayed me with that one. I'm being honest. All right. In Central Park, the defendant told Capricorn if anything happened, he'd have her unalived. He'd have to unalive her. Now, remember, he took her to the park and told her he didn't know that she was close to Suge Knight and that if anything happened, he would unalive her. Okay, but that's not kidnapping. David James remembered he was tested too to root out the rat. Now, that's true. David James said that Diddy went through his phone and his web browser and that David James had to take a lie detector test to prove that he wasn't the one that had leaked the information about the nightclub assault, which is the assault that led to Cassie being stomped in the face, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, in December of 2011, Rube helped the defendant kidnap Capricorn. It started on December 22nd. Combs pounded on her door with a firearm. He was out for revenge. Get dressed. We're going to unalive Cuddy, he barked. He drove her to Kid Cudi's house with a firearm in his lap. That's kidnapping. He transported her a significant distance. He told her she wouldn't be free until she brought him Cassie, who he kicked into a fetal position when she arrived. Damn. I mean, she's telling the testimony, but damn. She giving it. She's giving it. She's giving it. Cassie testified to this. That same morning, the officer responding to the 911 call saw a black Escalade registered to Bad Boy. Weeks later, on January 12th, 2012, Kid Cudi's car was set on fire. Arson. Someone cut a hole in the roof and dropped a Molotov cocktail. No, we're not saying Combs cut the hole. He didn't even buy his own suit. You heard the voice notes. Combs didn't say he'd blow up Kid Cudi's car. I love you. Combs did say he would blow up Kid Cudi's car. What are the odds? He says it. Okay. Are you coming back?
I'm trying to.
Okay.
But not then tomorrow. For sure. I promise.
I'll be at court.
I'll be your video.
Okay. When your big kids get a life, you got to deal with it. Anyway, she said, she's not saying that Diddy cut the hole in the roof or whatever, but he said he was going to do it, and it happened. Okay? The coincidences pile up. He and Rube were nearby weeks before. Cuddy drove that same Porsche the night of the trespass. What are the odds? I mean, is she selling it to y'all? I mean, I'm sitting here like, well, you make a valid point, but I mean, it is a coincidence. It is what are the odds, but the DNA led back to a female, so that didn't sway me. I know she got to have a life too. You see, I ain't stop her. Anyway, Cuddy had no enemies except Combs. D-Rock later brought Cuddy to him. Combs looked like a Marvel villain. Years later, he apologized. Now let's talk about bribery. Starting with the 2016 video, the defendant was having a freak off with Cassie and an escort named Jules Flores. Walked in and found Combs in a chair, starting with what he called a devilish look. Another man was in the room. Combs tried to hand Flores a stack of money. That was his first attempt to bribe someone that day. Once Cassie left, he began immediate damage control. Okay, so the mic didn't work. Okay, now it had power. The defendant called Cassie over a dozen times. Text said, "Call me, cops are here." He wasn't concerned about her. He was manipulating her. He knew there was video of the assault. He went banging on her door with a hammer. Neighbors were ready to call the police. So some did. Carrie Morgan had the LAPD officer's card. KK coached the cover-up. Say you had fun, drunk night. She called Eddie Garcia. He said no. So KK went in person. Eddie refused to show her the video, but said off the record, it's bad. KK had Combs call Eddie directly using her personal cell phone. When Eddie said his boss would hand over the USB for $50,000, the defendant called him Eddie my angel. That's how he saved him in his phone. Eddie delivered the USB. D-Rock and KK were there. Okay, now that one, I still don't know. I don't know about that one. Combs counted out the bribe dollar by dollar. Eddie said the security guard told him he came up with Combs, i.e. D-Rock. Eddie asked, what if Cassie calls the police? Combs knew the risk. Eddie found an ID and stand-in for Flores. NDAs were signed. No one to speak a word. So yes, they went and they signed NDAs and no one could say anything, all right? As Eddie Garcia left, Combs told him, don't make any big purchases. That one line tells you everything you need to know about the purpose of the bribe. It wasn't just about saving face. It was about silencing evidence. That's how the enterprise works. I don't know. Eddie ain't smart at all, Swag. He ain't smart at all. I don't know. I think they got that one. I don't know. But the thing that gets me is that the offer was made to him first, but he was willing to pay $100,000 for their silence is what I think they're trying to relay across. Because remember, we're getting the tweets, so there's still stuff that's missing from the actual transcripts because these are tweets according to what's going on in court, but this is what they're getting out, right? The highlighted portions, all right? This is not about criminalizing dysfunctional relationships. This is about criminal behavior. And no, the law doesn't require Cassie or Jane to have screamed no or to have physically run. Coercion doesn't always look like chains and cages. And I've been trying to tell people that. Sometimes it looks like control, manipulation, and fear. They show the jury an image. I don't know what image they showed, okay? 27 men. That's how many the defendant hired to have SEX with them. This is what power used for abuse looks like. 27 men? Can we pause for a second on that one? Cassie and Jane slept with 27 men? Damn. That's a lot of men. That's a lot of men, okay? Jane's trafficking charge isn't based on one single moment. It's the result of years long. Wait a minute, did I skip something? That's something to do with it. Okay, that right. Jane's trafficking charge isn't based on a single moment. It's the result of a years-long pattern, fraud, coercion, and eventually force. That's what the defendant used. You have 3 clear-cut hotel nights, September 2023, October 2023, and June 2024. But there were many more nights Jane agreed to, not because she wanted to, but because she felt she had no choice. When their relationship began in 2001, it looked like love, but it was something else, classic love bombing. He groomed her with gifts, affection, attention. I spoke about this, and then control. And after that came the freak-offs. Jane told you herself, her first hotel night felt like opening Pandora's box. What began as excitement turned into a pattern of pressure, manipulation, and fear. Jane told you her hotel night felt like opening Pandora's box, and once it opened, she couldn't close it. She tried to resist, but the coercion didn't stop. We showed you the grid of 27 men, 9 rows of 3. These are the men the defendant hired for freak-offs and hotel nights. These are the men who had SEX with Cassie, Ventura, and Jane. While the defendant watched, filmed, and directed, he lured Jane in with promises, trips, shopping, glamour. But those were just lies. Lies that he told to keep her participating. In April of 2023, he began paying her rent. That gift, it quickly turned into a weapon. When he controlled her rent, the coercion picked up steam. Every time she resisted, he threatened to cut her off, financially and emotionally. She didn't feel free. She felt obligated. She did the hotel nights because she feared the consequences if she didn't. In August of 2023, Jane resisted a hotel night, this one involving 3 entertainers. And what did Combs do? Send her a voice message. You heard it for yourself. Ain't nobody threatening you. You better get on your job. You got me on my job. He may say it's not a threat, but the message couldn't have been clearer. Jane knew exactly what it meant. Consent or losing your housing, threatening to take away her home. That's coercion, and it worked. What Jane went through didn't happen in a vacuum. Her experience echoed Cassie Ventura's lawsuit. Jane knew it. She had already been saying the same things for months. She texted the defendant after the lawsuit dropped. I feel like I'm reading my own actual trauma. This was actual exploitation you framed as love for your sick fetish. This was actual exploitation you framed as love for your sick fetish. And when Jane finally confronted him, when she tried to speak her truth, he gaslit her. And when that didn't work, he cut her off completely. You heard the clip. He talked over her. Dr. Hughes explained how trauma bonding, and y'all that hit the poll, y'all was right. Dr. Hughes explained how trauma bonding keeps victims tied to their abusers. Jane often felt like the defendant never truly listened. She said he dismissed her pain, would just move on. When she confronted him, he told her to charge him and said lawyers would get involved and hinted at paying off to keep quiet. So she asked for $100,000 a year to walk away, a fraction of what Cassie sought. She thought it was reasonable. Combs lost control. Jane refused to lie for him. Jury can read the messages yourself. She wrote that he threatened to show her sex tapes to her child's father. Then, despite everything, he told her to come to Miami. She made it clear she didn't want another hotel night. He agreed, but he lied. He called an escort anyway. She was still under pressure. She wrote, I hate worrying about the rent. That was 2024, and it all came to a head in June. Oh my God! You guys. Okay, so y'all know we moved to Florida. I'm sorry, I got to pause for a second. We moved to Florida in November, and that kind of messed my baby up. And she's a senior. That kind of messed her up. So she had to do summer school. But the school that she goes to, their graduation is on the 15th. My baby is graduating. Thank you. Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Won't he do it? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare y'all. My baby, I'm going to my baby's graduation. I'm going home on the 4th, and I will be there for my baby's graduation. That's another one. Another one. Thank you to the Most High God. Won't he do it? Salute to the ancestors. Oh my God. Thank you. Anyway, all right, let's get back into this because y'all didn't come here for that, but I just had to, that popped up on my screen and I just, oh, thank you, Lord. Thank you. All right, let's get back into it. All right. He agreed, but he lied. We read that already. Okay. I hate having to worry about the rent. And it all came to a head in June. He assaulted her and forced her to perform oral XCX on an escort. That's X trafficking. It was interstate. Even the Astroglide across Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Is it illegal to transport Astroglide across state lines? I need somebody to explain this to me. Wait a minute. Wait, we got to read that whole last part again because hold on. And it all came to a head in June. He assaulted her and forced her to perform oral sex on an escort. That's X trafficking. It was interstate. Even the Astroglide crossed state lines. Wait a minute. Why they put Astroglide call? Wait, but I can't even get it out. Wait, they said, wait, between the good news and this laugh, I got tears coming out the sides of my eyes. Even the Astroglide crossed state lines. The law is clear. It only takes one time. Force, threats, fraud, coercion. He knew what he was doing or didn't care to know. And saying yes once doesn't mean yes forever. Even the Astroglide cross state lines. I can't with y'all. I can't, okay? But did you hear what they said? They said, and saying yes once doesn't mean yes forever, okay? In 2023, he promised Jane a real New York weekend, no games. But he brought in escorts again. She messaged him, "It's dark and sleazy. I'm scared of losing my home." His reply, "Girl, stop." Then he FaceTimed her, pretending it would be a nice dinner. Another lie. Behind the scenes, he was texting Paul Arthur, an escort. Now pause, because remember, I told y'all that. This is what I was saying to y'all, that he told her, hey, you're going to come to New York. It's going to be just us. And then they showed us text messages of how he's texting her, telling her, yeah, they're going to go to dinner. It's just going to be them. But then he's texting Paul Arthur to come flying into New York. Now, Paul Arthur was more than just an escort. He was also Diddy's trainer. Gold Digger pointed that out to us. Was it last night or night before last? She reminded us that Paul was his trainer. So he was texting Paul to come in as well. He was setting up another hotel night. Before Jane's flight even landed, he messaged her, "I have a surprise for you." That's a complete act of sex trafficking before her plane even touched down. My Cash App is underneath me. It's Jupiter Juju 8. All right. She didn't want it. She was coerced. She messaged him again. In NYC, "I knew you would pair me up with a random person." That's not love. That's manipulation. That's trafficking. She was so disgusted at the sobriety party, she vomited. Remember that? They had the sobriety party where she tried to do the freak off sober and she threw up in between. And remember, there was the birthday one with the sweaty dude. Child, that's because she hadn't taken any illegal substances to numb it. Earlier on, Combs had tricked her by inviting the escort. So under pressure, she called Cabral to come to New York. In her next text, she wrote to Combs, "In NYC, I knew you would pair me up with a random person." Jane texted him, "I'm not a porn star. I'm not an animal. I need a break." His response, "Let's spend the day together, no strangers." She replied, "You'll love bomb me." She knew the cycle, affection, control, and then the same pattern again. And when the affection didn't work, Combs used pressure. The house. "Are you going to let me into your house?" He texted her 8 times. Then he claimed he was sick, that he needed her. So she gave in. She went and ended up having sex with 3 men. This time, there was no illegal substances, no haze, just compliance after coercion. Even after she vomited, he said, "Get back out here." In 2024, it happened again, but this time in Jane's own house. 3 months after Homeland Security searched his homes, he used her home. They were supposed to have a normal, fun date night. They drank, they argued. Jane pushed his head into the counter. He screamed at her. She told him to leave. She ran, slamming doors behind her. He kicked down 3 doors. You've seen the damage. There's one on the screen now. She ran without shoes. She hid, but he waited. Jane struck the defendants in response. He punched her in the face. You've seen the photos. He dragged her by the hair, forcing her back in the house. Jane grabbed his phone and called the other woman, shouting in desperation. The defendant, in turn, called Jonathan Perez. Then it escalated. Combs followed her into the shower, hit her again, knocked her down. Afterwards, he contacted Anton, the escort, and told him to come over and have sex with him. Jane, bruised and shaken, makeup on to cover the injuries, and drove to pick Anton up from the gate. Then the defendant handed her a pill and said, "Take this effing pill." He got in her face just inches away and asked, "Is this coercion?" He was mocking the very law he was violating. He knew what he was doing, and he did it anyway. Jane said no. She didn't want to have sex with the escort, but he ignored her. He wouldn't accept no. So Jane complained. Complied. Jane performed oral sex on Anton until Anton ejaculated. Thank you for the Cash App. I appreciate you. The defendant told security to bring payment for Anton, but they didn't have cash. The next day, he handed Jane the money and made her send it. She Ubered the bag of cash to Anton herself. That's not consent. That's coercion. In December 2023, Jane reached out, desperate for help. She texted Christina Coram, the defendant's former chief of staff. Her message was raw, painful, and terrifying. He just threatened me about my sex tapes. He said he would expose me and send them to my child's father. She told Coram, I'm just going to say KK. She told KK that those tapes showed her heavily rugged and performing acts that he requested. She was trying to heal, trying to find peace, but he wouldn't leave her alone. All I asked for is my space. I'm beyond hurt by him. And how did KK respond? With familiarity. She wasn't shocked or confused. She simply said, I always tell him all the time to just give these things space. Otherwise, we end up in a situation like we're in now. Jane didn't want to involve her, but she was afraid. She said, please talk some sense into him because this isn't fair to me at all. I'm traumatized. I'm just privately healing and he keeps bothering me. She made it clear those were tapes of her heavily rugged, doing things that she was told to do over the span of 3 years. That's not consent. That's exploitation. And now he was using those same tapes to control her. This isn't about a breakup. It's about threats, blackmail, and psychological torment. And it wasn't just in December. Thank you for the Cash App. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Y'all don't know. I need that. Thank you. The threats, it's about threats, blackmail, psychological torment. And it wasn't just in December. Back in September of 2023, before a trip, Jane texts Combs directly. It's dark, sleazy, and makes me feel disgusted with myself. Jane didn't want to feel obligated to perform. Jane, I don't want to feel obligated to perform these nights with you in fear of losing the roof over my head. She told him she didn't want to play the role anymore. No more trips, no more coercion. She wanted freedom. But to him, her no never mattered. So now they took a break for lunch, okay? And now we're back. Before lunch. Okay, so now Slavik tells you where she brought you in at, okay? She says, before lunch, we walked through these 3 specific incidents of sex trafficking involving Jane. But let's be clear, those nights didn't happen in isolation. They were part of a progression from fraud to coercion to eventually force. This wasn't spontaneous. Henny Glass is in the chat if she is laying shit down right now. And yes, I could say the SHIT word. He could have ordered real life escorts. I'm saying he could have. He could have, but I guess it was more like he wanted his personal ones, like people that he knew would be specifically for him. I mean, I don't know. But she's laying this down because I'm like, whoa. It's different when you hear the testimony, but to hear it summarized, I want to hear what the defense got to say tomorrow, baby, because Agnifilo, you got to bring the heat, baby. You got to bring the heat, okay? All right. It was a buildup rooted in power, drugs, and fear. You saw it. The rent conversations, the manipulation around housing. You heard how Jane had little to no experience with illegal substances before she met Diddy. Once she was under his influence, physically, emotionally, chemically, it became easier to control her. If she wasn't high on illegal substances that made her feel actually aroused, I told you earlier, she wouldn't refuse. And what did the video show? Jane was super, super high. Now, we didn't see the video, so I don't know if she was only the jury knows. This is the most important. This is important because the defense will argue that she consented. But this wasn't a grown woman making a free, empowered choice. The relationship was clouded with threats of exposing sex tapes, control over her rent, and emotional violence. Damn, emotional violence sounds really harsh. Those weren't adult decisions. They were survival responses. Now let's go further back to Cassandra Ventura. She first met him when she was 19. When she was just 22, barely out of girlhood, he introduced her to what he called freak-offs with male escorts. Jesus Christ. I feel like I need a drink and a real cigarette right now. Lord, him and mercy. For a decade, he threatened her, beat her, and got her hooked on illegal substances and forced her into sex with hired men. Just like Jane, it became her job. It became her shame. Damn. And then there's what Capricorn Clark told you. A moment that says everything about how he viewed Cassie. Moldable, obedient, owned. You right. He did say that. He did say that. I forgot about that. She came over. He told her, sit down, stand up, turn around, walk, grab that, hand me that, walk back, turn around, go in the other room. And she did it, all of it, because like Jane, she didn't feel she had a choice. Before I take you through the darkest parts of what Cassandra Ventura endured, let's be clear on how it began. He didn't just date her, he dominated her. He made her dependent on him emotionally, financially, professionally. He kept her occupied with busy work, recording songs no one would ever hear, kept her chasing approval, chasing a dream he held in his hand like a leash. And the violence, it wasn't hidden. It wasn't secret. It was open, loud, brutal, and seen. God damn. Security guards, his own men, members of the enterprise, stood by, enabled it, even helped clean it up. You heard what happened that day in Beverly Hills. He threw her down. Her head cracked against the bed frame. It split open. And who took her to the plastic surgeon? D-Rock, one of the defendant's bodyguards. No police, no hospital, just cover up. This wasn't a one-time loss of control. This was a pattern. You remember what Miss Ventura told you. Make the wrong face, and the next thing I knew, I was getting hit in the face. That's not a relationship. That's terror. That's control. That's abuse. And members of the jury is racketeering. Yeah, I think the defense don't want that. I think listen. This, the way she's summarizing this, yeah. Yeah, she's breaking this all the way down. Let's talk about the violence Sean Combs inflicted, not just on Cassandra Ventura, but on those around her. You heard from Brianna Bangalan, who said he held her over the balcony. The defense tried to use timestamps and photos to say he wasn't even there. But let's be honest, Bana might have gotten the day wrong, but you knew the attack. You know the attack happened. You saw the contemporaneous messages. You felt the fear. That kind of detail doesn't come from nowhere. And what happened after Cassie was beaten? What happened after Cassie was beaten? One of his own, D-Rock, texted the defendant that she was ice in her eye. And Combs didn't ask, is she okay? He asked, why is she not having herself hidden? Back up. Now, this is what I've been saying. She got the day wrong, but you know what happened. The defense basically took those words. It's as if I whispered them in the in the prosecution's ear. That she got the date wrong, but we know the attack happened. And then I told y'all about these text messages between Diddy and D-Rock. Yo, I hope that Agnifilo and them come with some fire tomorrow. Because let me just pause for a second. Let me put this that's where we are right now. Let me come back over here for a second. And let me tell y'all, I hope that Agnifilo comes with some fire tomorrow. And I say that because I feel cheated out of the experience. And the reason I feel cheated out of the experience is because we never got to see the defense put on a defense with witnesses being called to the stand. We never got to see anybody stand up and defend Diddy. We didn't get to see that. For me, all we saw is more of what we're seeing now, that people are not there to say, I was here and this is what happened. There's nobody that's coming up and speaking, giving character witness accounts of him. There's nobody doing any of that. Out of all of these people, all the people that have been around him. And yes, I'm saying this with a lot of passion right now, because if I show you this clip, let me go to this clip and let me show y'all why I feel the way that I feel. Because everybody wanted to party with Diddy. Everybody wanted to party with Diddy, y'all. Let me share this with y'all. I think I'm gonna use this person's because this one, Diddy's channel. Now let's do this while I'm telling you this. Can y'all see it? Let me get over here. Let me see. Can y'all see this video? All of these people that are in this video right here, those are people that were at Diddy's party. Diddy's 50th birthday party. Everybody. Hey, Edna. None of them can come and speak up for him. Not one person that was at this party, any of the white parties or the other birthday parties that he was having. Look at how many people are in that party. Not one of these people. Marie Charlotte, baby, we're talking about a case. We're not talking about the person. We're talking about the case, sweetheart. When you go to court, there's the prosecution side and there's the defense's side. The defense's job is to defend him. Look at all of the people that were there for his 50th birthday. It's jam-packed. Exactly. All smiling. They all in there smiling. All these people and nobody. Look, Swiss Beats, Usher, okay? Snoop Dogg. All right? That's Jermaine Dupri. Mary. You got politicians. You got all these people that was willing to come and party with Diddy. Jay-Z is at the 50th birthday party. Remember, Jay-Z said that ain't my brother. Marie, that's what we talking about, baby. That's what we talking about. Just trust the process, honey. Trust the process, okay? Kanye is the only one. Look, Pharrell didn't show up. Nobody. Why didn't the Kardashians? Why didn't anybody get on that stand? Why didn't the defense put on a defense? I don't want to hear this BS about, oh, they're showing confidence. They're showing confidence. Because that's what's being said. They got it won already. They got it all won. TD Jakes. I don't want to hear that. Because, see, when it comes to people like me who like to give both sides of the story, you cheated people out of the opportunity to see how the defense was going to counteract all of this that's been put out there. You cheated the people that sit in the courtroom. You cheat the people that were on, that have been reporting on this. The people have been cheated of the defense. That's how I feel. Maybe I'm not talking for nobody else and I'm just speaking for myself, but I feel cheated out of having the experience of the defense putting on their case. Now, did all of these people say, cancel, that they're not coming? Did all of them take a second guess and say, I'm not coming? I don't want to get involved in that? Because if that's what's happening, just say that. But I wanted to just speak on that for a second, because I always talk about the 50th birthday party. And, you know, I don't know if a lot of people seen it. But exactly, where's Stevie J? Stevie J didn't even show up to court not one time. Ray J didn't even show up to court not one time. Now, we could talk about Ray J and Stevie J, because Ray J and Stevie J been all over the internet, popping it and defending Diddy, but they wasn't up in that courtroom now. Anyway, let me get off my little soapbox and let's continue. All right. So now let's pick up where we left off at. All right. Where we were just talking about how Brianna gave her account of the balcony incident. And, you know, they were saying, you know, when Cassie got beat, that D-Rock was texting with Diddy. And this is when Diddy was also texting Gina. This is when he was also texting Gina. Texting D-Rock about Gina. So it was a lot of back and forth that was going on, okay? So they're talking about how Diddy didn't ask not one time, is she okay? And he didn't. He didn't ask, is Cassie okay? He just wanted to know because the kids seen her eye why she wasn't hiding herself. All right? So now Slavik continues. It says, that's not concern. That's cover up. That's coordination. That's how the enterprise worked. D-Rock wasn't just security. He was surveillance. He was in control. He was responsible for making sure that Cassie didn't show the world the damage. Now, you'll hear about how Cassie went back, that she had good moments with the defendant, even after the worst ones. Why? You heard it from experts. Trauma bonding. He hurt her. Then he held her. Combs broke Cassie down, then made her believe he was the only one who could build her back up. That's how trauma bonds work. That's why she stayed. And those freak-offs, 9 years of degradation, of pressure, of pain. She even texted once, I love our FOs, then quickly added, when we both want it. The second part matters, when we both want it. Because most of the time, it wasn't what she wanted. It was what he demanded. These encounters weren't romantic. They weren't mutual. They were hours long. She was forced to participate while sick, bleeding, or in pain. She was urinated on. This wasn't intimacy. This was humiliation, weaponization. God damn. And those videos the jury saw, that wasn't love. That wasn't freedom. That was a performance, just like Jane. Don't be fooled into thinking it was anything else. Let's walk through what happened at the Intercontinental in Los Angeles in 2016. You've seen the footage before, but today I want you to see it differently, with context, with clarity. Cassie had just walked out of a freak off. She wanted out. But what does he do? He goes after her in the hallway, in public, on camera. He assaults her. Why? The defendant says it was about a phone, a simple fight, a misunderstanding. But you know better. He wanted her to come back to the freak off, back to submission, back to control. This wasn't a lover's spat. That was sex trafficking in plain sight on surveillance in a luxury hotel hallway. This was power trying to force itself back into dominance. He didn't want her to walk away. He wanted her to obey. Combs controlled every detail of Cassie's life, right down to her hair and nails at red carpet events. At the 2024 Vanity Affair party, she was told exactly how to style her hair. He blocked her career. She was denied a spot in Common's video. He paid for her car, her clothes, her phone, vacations, making her utterly dependent. He extended that control to her family. When he learned she was seeing Kid Cudi, he demanded $20,000 from Cassie's parents or he'd release sex tapes. Despite being despite being in and dispersing $3.2 million that month, it was never about money. It was about dominance. Dr. Hughes explained it well. When an abuser destabilizes a victim, they seize control. He punched, kicked, and dragged her. After the worst episodes, he hid her in hotel rooms to recover out of sight. Photos and videos confirmed it. And D-Rock, Rube, Paulie, all of them knew. He assaulted her at a Prince party until security stepped in. Friends Mia and Myra Morales described similar abuses. He threatened her with sex tapes at the house and attacked her again in Jamaica. In Las Vegas, she was curled up under a towel when he beat her so badly that even D-Rock was moved to tears. Of course, there's the Intercontinental Hotel hallway attack caught on tape. For Cassie, abuse became routine. It happened to Mia, Devontae Nash, and even Bana. He controlled her on social media. When she was in South Africa, KK and D-Rock kept tabs on her. D-Rock even reported her state back to Combs. She's icing. Tell her to chill. He raped her on a Malibu living room floor. She said no. She wept. He wrote afters, I could tell I didn't turn you on yesterday. That is great. But trauma bonds pulled her back. Hours-long performances, self-gratification, filmmaker fantasy. Sometimes he even had escorts urinate on her or urinated himself. Why? To satisfy his sexual fantasies. She became substance abuse addicted. Text, I love our FOs when we both wanted. Jurors, this isn't all or nothing. There were countless days he knew she didn't want it. That's sex trafficking. She obviously didn't want an escort to urinate in her mouth while lying on the floor. Now look at the videos. No weapons, just her performing while he moved the camera, sometimes focused on the escorts, not Cassie at all. This was all fantasy for him, not her. Pause. What? Did she just say? Hold on. Did she just say? while he moved the camera, sometimes focused on the escort, not Cassie at all. This was all fantasy for him, not her. At the Intercontinental on March 5th, 2016, her premiere night, she agreed to a freak off. This was more or less damage control. You heard her say, "I don't want you thinking I don't want to." She knew he wouldn't accept no. He brought in jewels, and then Cassie tried to escape. Shoes left behind. He grabbed her and assaulted her. He dragged her by the hair back into the room where Jules waited. Well, he didn't drag her into the room. He took her bags, but she refused to follow. Instead, she used her phone in the elevator lobby. The defendant, even in a towel, chose to stay. He grabbed her phone, stayed with bags in hand, waiting for Flores and possibly Jules inside. He offered Flores money to leave, then returned to drag Cassie back. She just wanted her phone and bags. He was keeping her there, enforcing participation. That's not a separate attack. It's part of the same coercion to get Cassie back into the freak off. Later, Cassie texted him, "I'm not a rag doll. I'm somebody's child." She had freak offs in New York with Daniel Phillips because Daniel wasn't paid. Because Daniel wasn't paid, defense will say that proves no trafficking. But trafficking doesn't require payment to the victim, only control over them. Daniel heard Combs yell, "Bitch, when I tell you to come here, you come here." After that, Daniel couldn't perform. But remember, SEX trafficking does not require a completed act. At the Cannes at the film festival, Combs accused her of stealing rugs, threw her off a boat without her passport. Mia heard it. They flew back to New York and he showed her freak off videos on board. He threatened to release SEX tapes. In New York, they had another freak off. He threw her off a boat to scare her. Cassie said, "I didn't know what no would mean." He would be violent. The defense said Cassie chose to stay, but put yourself in her place. This was force, leverage. There were illegal substances, dissociative and numbing agents to dull her pain. Yes, some messages sound consensual. That doesn't mean she wanted it. Remember, when he demanded, "You're supposed to be seducing me all day," that was his fantasy, not Cassie's. She told him she didn't want to do freak offs. Even on her 29th birthday, Deontay told you she left her own party for one. If he wanted it, it was going to happen. She had no real freedom. She didn't have the freedom to make voluntary adult choices. Let's go back to count one. Those freak offs, Combs didn't act alone. KK, D-Rock, Fahim, they enabled it. KK arranged for Clayton Howard to enter her room. Jonathan Perez viewed videos and showed KK. Fahim supplied illegal substances during sessions. On February 18th of 2024, after Jane complained to KK, KK still sent supplies for Wild King nights, freak-offs. D-Rock iced Cassie's black eye. He knew exactly what was happening. The idea they didn't know, that's absurd. David James, Deontay Nash, Jonathan Perez, they all saw strangers in Combs' home. They saw Jane with escorts while Combs watched. That's interstate travel for prostitution. Combs booked the travel and paid for it. Count three, covers freak-offs with Cassie. Escorts flew from New York, Miami, LA, even Ibiza, arranged by travel agents. Jules Theodore was with Combs at the London hotel. He bought her Amex ticket, paid a $2,000 bill, message, "I will tip you." For what? SEX. And that was just one incident. There was another with Jules beginning at 7 a.m. at Turk's. Combs asked, "How should I pay Paul?" He paid for Paul's travel. For what? SEX. These aren't one-off events. These are racketeering acts: travel, payment, coercion, organization. The law doesn't require that everyone fully consent. The fact remains he orchestrated this. Combs is guilty. Let's talk about Reggie. He flew from Las Vegas to LA for one reason: SCX. Jane sent him $1,100 via Cash App. Here's the hotel. Filio, $4,000 in damages. Bodily fluids on the floor. It couldn't be clearer. Every time KK arranged travel for these wild king nights, she helped facilitate a crime. Maybe she didn't like it, but she did it. She set up wild king nights, wild king travel to Vegas. You heard it straight from Combs. The wildest wild king night in Vegas. His own words. KK knew exactly what was going on. She wasn't just booking rooms. She was inducing travel for prostitution. That's a crime. That's racketeering. Here's an audio message Combs sent to KK asking to hunt for the sexiest, most unapologetic wild king sex room in Vegas. This wasn't just a phrase. Wild king nights meant sex with escorts. She helped book Cabral's travel. She got the cash. She made the plans. She knew the game. And each time she did it, became another racketeering act. You only need to find two. But just in this portion alone, there are dozens. 15 minutes afternoon break. Okay, that's where we at. I am reading from P. Diddy trial updates. Okay, this is where I'm reading from. Ciao. Now let's go over here to Inner City Press, because I know Inner City Press may have some things, because these two, they tweet the same but not the same. All right. So now let's see. That's 13 minutes ago. Okay, so here we have it right here. Every time KK helped, KK helped Cabral. They did a break. All right, they're back from break. So now we're on Inner City Press. Listen, Henny is, if nothing else, Henny is freaking resourceful. All right, we gonna move around these internet streets, and y'all gonna get this Henny, baby. Now I know the numbers is low, but it's cool. We'll get back to where we supposed to be. Anyway, Slavik continues. You heard of forced labor of 4 women, Cassie and Jane, and Mia and Capricorn. Cassie and Jane, it was grueling sexual services. Cassie called them grueling, up to 4 days, maybe even more. Jane said, the same thing. Cassie and Jane were on call to perform freak-offs for the defendant whenever he wanted, wherever he wanted. He used force or threats of force. He would say, let's finish on a high note. Let's push through. You're not tired, are you? It took weeks to recover from these freak-offs. That's forced labor. KK kept setting up hotel rooms and flights. Let's turn to Mia. She worked for Combs, finally at Revolt. She went 5 days without sleep. Combs sexually assaulted her. He put his hands up her dress. He came into her bedroom and penetrated her. He came into the closet and forced her to perform oral sex on him. There was a time in the bathroom of a private jet she couldn't fully remember. Repeated traumatic events. Now that's where he left us off at, with the repeated traumatic events. Oh, no, he didn't. Hold on. She was clear as a bell Even under cross-examination, she performed labor and services, including sexual services. He threw her against a wall and slammed a door on her arm. She saw violence at Prince's party and on Turks. And this is where we are, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. All right. When they were in South Africa, KK told Mia, if you don't call him in 10 minutes, you don't have a job. He has all the power and control. She knew she couldn't say no, even to little things. Mia knew that her job was to protect the defendant. And that is something that Mia testified to. That she knew her job. She understood her job to be to protect him at all costs. All right, Positive Vibes. Positive Vibes is going to the TV. Thank you for being here. Now listen. The way that AUSA Comey is laying this thing down, baby, anybody that says that she ain't laying it down, I don't know what you watching. I don't know what you watching, because what say you over here in the chat while we wait for the tweets to update? Because that was tweeted like 30-something seconds ago, maybe about a minute ago. What say y'all on this? Is she cooking, y'all? I know there are some people that, are not for the prosecution, and that's fine. They don't have to be for the prosecution. But see, one thing about me, I'm not going to sit up here and be no hater. I've never been a hater. I have given the defense their flowers when the defense, let me tell you something, the defense be rocking and rolling, okay? The defense be rocking and rolling, but this right here, for the ones in the back that don't get that, she's smoking right now. She's smoking right now. And I'm not just saying that. It's the truth. Like I'm trying to make sure there's no updates anywhere. And shout out to P. Diddy trial updates and to Inner City Press. They are both doing their thing. The closing is tying the case together. It is. It really is. Like, you see it, Pam Entertainment TV. They're really closing. They're tying this up really good, because people have said this case has been all over the place. And it's me. I'm people. I said the case was all over the place, but I understood after a while what it is that they were trying to do, which is they were giving it to us in increments. So when Cassie went, everybody that testified, except for Dr. Dawn Hughes and, things like that, the agents, that was all during Cassie's time that she was with Diddy. Then when Jane came, everybody after Jane was that period in time. But because it was so much information, and because it's been 35 people who have come to testify, that's a lot of information. And I just feel like she's lacing the case up, but I gotta hear the defense. I want to hear the defense's closing argument. I didn't say a Rick James line. I don't even remember. And you guys, I feel like I'm getting sick. If I'm going to be honest with y'all, I feel like I'm getting sick. Jurors, open your eyes and ears, pay attention, pick up what she's laying down with all you're getting. Get an understanding. Hello. Hey, LaDonna. LaDonna. I always mess up your name. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm getting sick, you guys. I'm going to have to get me some stuff to get myself better, because I can't get sick now. Not now. All right. I'm looking on P. Diddy trial updates to see what she has. If anything has updated. No, she hasn't updated anything. So now let's click on here, see if he put anything. Yes, we have another couple of tweets. All right. HR was for Combs. She couldn't go to the police due to Combs's power. The threats left her with no options. I expect you're going to hear that she could have left, that she told Combs she loved him. Mia pulled no punches. Those were high highs and low lows. Capricorn Clark had an issue with overtime. She took the issue to the head of HR, Vashta Wilson. But HR was the defendant's puppet. The defendant and Uncle Paulie's threatened her in Central Park and the lie detector and her being taken to Kid Cudi. Listen, how long do you think the defense's closing will be? They didn't have any witnesses. They're saying that the defense's closing is only going to be about 3 hours. But I feel like the prosecution allowing them to go on Friday. Oh, wow, I missed the super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Princess Knowledge. I'm so sorry I didn't see that. Thank you for the super chat, Nunu from LA. I did not see you guys. I'm so sorry. I was busy reading. My bad. I really apologize. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And thank you for the cash apps that I received as well, you guys. Thank you so much. If Agnifilo sticks to what he said and he only does the 3 hours and no, I didn't go to the courtroom today, Angelina. I didn't go today. My body did not want to cooperate. Plus, I had to do something for my daughter, so I had to make myself available. So no, I didn't go today. I will be going tomorrow because I want to hear what the defense has to say. And I want to hear that loud, live, and in color. To be honest with you, I've heard all of this, but I didn't get to see it like tie in together. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't see it tie all in together. So now we're seeing it be tied all in together. And I'm just sitting here like, baby. Yes. I have seen the RICO and I've seen what they've been I've seen the case that they're building, but to hear them actually put it all together now is what's got me like, wow, because I've been saying a lot. And so, you know, I guess I lost some people when I said I didn't go. When I said I didn't go to court, I guess some people was like, oh, she ain't go to the courthouse. I ain't watching her no more. Oh, I don't like going live this way. Anyway, yes, Cookie, I know that's what they do, but the way she's lacing these sneakers right now, I wish you were there. I heard how passionate they were and how impacted everyone was with their delivery. Yeah. Oh, trust me, I still got people that keep me in the loop about what's going on. And I heard that a lot of people are just now seeing the RICO, are just now starting to understand, are just now starting to see the case. And then there are still some people who say they don't see it. All right. Capricorn Clark. She had a son to provide for, and Combs threatened to blacklist her. Now witness tampering and obstruction after Cassie filed her lawsuit. This weaves the whole story together. Jane wrote, "You gaslit me." She posed a problem for the defendant. I don't know why it's kicking you out. I ain't kicking nobody out, I promise. Okay, let's see. Let's go over here to the P. Diddy trial updates because she just updated some things. Okay, so let's go back to what we just read from Inner City Press to what she said. It often took weeks to recover. Now let's talk about Mia. She started working for Combs and eventually ended up at Revolt. At one point, she went 5 days without sleep. She described multiple assaults of Combs putting his hands up her dress, forcing his way into her bedroom and penetrating her. In one incident, Combs cornered her in the closet and forced her to perform oral sex. Another time, she blacked out in the bathroom of a private jet and still can't recall what exactly happened. These were not isolated experiences, they were patterns of trauma. Even under tough cross-examination, Mia remained clear and consistent. And I told you guys that. Mia stayed, her story stayed the same. Okay? She was forced to perform labor and sexual services under threats and violence. He threw her against the wall and slammed her door in her arm. She witnessed violence at Prince's party and in Turks and Caicos. And remember, forced labor is just one of the 8 racketeering acts we've outlined. You've heard evidence of drug distribution, kidnapping, arson, bribery, sex trafficking. Okay, you've already heard those. You also heard the interstate transportation for prostitution, forced labor, and witness tampering. We don't need all 8. We don't even need most. To find racketeering conspiracy, all you have to find is 2 acts. 2 from this entire pattern. This is what I've been telling you guys. 2 acts committed through this organized web of control, silence, and fear. That's all. And you've heard more than enough. Ooh. Like this commenter said, sheesh. Jeez, thank you for the Cash App. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. Let me respond. I like to respond. Yes. So I don't know. This is woo, baby. This is woo. Oh, she said, congratulations to you and baby girl. Thank you so much. Y'all, woo. Cooking with fire. Are they still going? I don't think they're still going. I think they're just still tweeting. I don't know if they're still going. Oh, no, they are still going because you know what? They were going from 9 to 5 today and 9 to 5 tomorrow. Now, tomorrow I will be there front and center. I will be there. I think I'm going to go into the overflow. I don't know. If I could get in the main courtroom again, I will. But if I can't, then I'll just, it is what it is. But a downside to being in the main courtroom is that you can hear, but it's like there's no speaker in there, so you don't really hear too good. In the overflow room, you hear very good. You even get to see like Diddy's face. You can see his facial expressions. You can see when he's passing notes clearly. Like you can see all of that from the overflow. That's why I love the overflow. Shout out to everybody who's been in the main courtroom because it's an energy to be in the courtroom. But it's another thing to actually be able to put everything together. But what are y'all thinking right now? Oh, they still going, baby. They are still going. All right. Let's talk about power and control. When they were in South Africa, KK told Mia, if you don't call him in 10 minutes, you don't have a job. That was the reality. The defendant held all cards. Mia couldn't say no, not even to the smallest request. Why? Because her job wasn't just to work for him. It was to protect him. HR, that was a safe space. That wasn't a safe space, excuse me. HR worked for Combs, not for Mia. She knew that. And the police, What would they do when they're up against someone with his influence, his power? The threats she faced left her with no real options. Now, I expect you'll hear from the defense. She could have left. She told him she loved him. Baby, I'm trying to see. Come on, P. Diddy trial updates. I like the updates. Come on. Y'all, this is getting good. You hear me? This is getting good. Mm-mm. Okay, you said I was about to say I didn't see like I guess I see YouTube is tripping today because how y'all gonna put me out my live because I ain't see comments moving. Like there was no comments moving. What's going on, YouTube? I am about to open up the vertical bar. Brendan said he was fired around 3 different times, but it must be like walking on eggshells in fear of losing your job if you didn't do something big, small, or illegal. Yeah, yeah. How they get the updates out so fast if you can't have devices. There are, to my knowledge, there's like 5 people that are allowed to live tweet. So I think it's something that you have to like apply for. I'm not sure. But they're able to live tweet it. And so between Inner City Press and P. Diddy trial updates, these are how we're getting these tweets. But now with P. Diddy updates, it's a little more detailed. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. I'm about to open the other bar as well. Yeah, I had to go out a few times this live. Are you serious? They're really cutting up like that? YouTube, you're not about to get me to keep going the way y'all want me to keep doing my lives. No, because y'all be playing with folk. This is crazy. This is about to spark a lot of controversy, you guys. All right. And yes, Nia was honest. She told you there were high highs and there were also devastating lows. Take Capricorn Clark, and all she did was raise an overtime issue. She brought it to HR Vashta Wilson, the head of HR. But again, HR was just a puppet for the defendant. What happened? Capricorn was threatened, not just by Combs, but by Uncle Paulie in the middle of Central Park. Then came the lie detector. Then being taken to confront Kid Cudi. Ladies and gentlemen, this wasn't just a toxic workplace. This was an enterprise of fear, control, and silencing. And it was all orchestrated by one man. Well, honey, there gonna be a lot of folks that ain't gonna be happy about this one over here. I'm just trying to tell you, they're not gonna be too happy with this. And I know it. I know it. People gonna be upset. People gonna be real upset about this one. Listen, they are laying it down. Do you hear me? Please go through. It didn't. Hold on, you guys. So at the end of the day, as this case comes to a close, a lot of people are going to have to, they're going to have to, look, we all have our own thoughts, views, and opinions, right? But this right here that's being laid out, where do you see Rose? Oh, every commercial is a black screen. Huh? Oh. What's getting on your nerves? The commercials? I mean, we keep having the same conversation about commercials. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. I don't. Maybe it's just my channel. Maybe they hitting my channel. Maybe my channel is back shadow banned. All right. I just turned the monetization off. So, Cash App, Super Chat, please, because I've turned monetization off for this video. So everybody can watch the video and not get put out and not be upset. So let's see what happens. So this is now a non-monetized live. Let's get back to the tweets. Let's see if anything else has come out. No, I'll put them back on when it's done. All right. Had a child, had a son to take care of. We already talked about that. Okay, wait a minute. Okay. Capricorn had a child, a son to take care of. And what did the defendant do? He threatened to blacklist her. That's how he wielded power, through intimidation, manipulation, and control. Now let's talk about witness tampering and obstruction, especially after Cassie filed her lawsuit. This is where everything ties together. Jane was a problem. She knew too much. She had lived it. After Cassie's lawsuit hit headlines, he moved fast to contain the fallout. He called Jane. These calls, they were recorded on KK's phone. You'll hear them. It's November 19th, 2023. Cassie's case has already been settled, but he was panicking and terrified of a criminal investigation. So what did he say? What can I do to make you feel better? Baby, this is where that conversation comes into play at that you've been hearing a lot about of people saying things like, oh, she asked him for $100,000 a year. And yeah, because he asked her. He asked her what it was going to take to make her feel better. And she told him, don't ask no questions you don't want to answer to. Listen me, okay? I'm not saying it's right, but what I'm saying is he asked for that. Put it back on. Don't bother me. Get your money, Henny. I am. I promise I am. Combs knew not to say too much. I can't be speaking on the phone, he says. And then he starts rewriting history right there. While recording, he tells Jane, we just did some kinky shit I thought we both enjoyed. He's trying to gaslight her, to rewrite her trauma as fantasy. She already told him, you gaslit me. And in the background, you hear the scratching of a Sharpie. He's taking notes, planning, plotting, trying to shape Jane's words. You've seen the lawyers passing notes in this courtroom. Now ask yourself, how long has this game of deception been going on? Baby! Wait a minute. Remember, I was telling you about them passing them damn notes. I told y'all about them passing them damn notes in that damn courtroom. I told you, because see, that's the difference. I could see that very clearly. I get to see it. And I got to watch it happen in real time. I got to watch Diddy pass notes to the lawyer and the lawyer passing notes to each other. I got to see all the notes that was going down and going around in that courtroom, because that's the angle and that's the advantage of being in the overflow that you have that other people that aren't in the overflow may not have. Again, shout out to everybody that gets into that main courtroom, because that's a whole different experience. But I've been telling y'all about that. That's why I watch you, because nothing is baby, I be looking. I told y'all before other people picked it up. I told y'all about Diddy nodding his head and all of that. I told y'all about that. I told y'all about the different things that he was doing every different day and which way. Yes, baby. Oh, Swagger, you made it to the table, baby. You made it to the table, baby. Sorry, you made it to the table. I can't override uniquely. When uniquely say you got to go to the water table, you got to go to the water table. I can't do nothing to reverse that. Whatever the mob says, the wrench mob says, it's what it is. It's just what it is. I can't change it. I don't reverse decisions. What did you say, Henny? We understand that commercials are part of YouTube streets. You have worked hard for your monetization. I have. But listen, I can't save you. You got to go to the water table. He said, my job is done. I'm off to the water table. You know what? That's what you was trying to do. I'm not fooling with you. I'm not fooling with you. All right. We haven't gotten anything from any update just yet. You know what? I don't really need these. I just want those. I don't need them. You was listening on your TV? Was you entertained? Were you entertained? To the water table like the Soul Train line. I'm done. You spend so much time, you got premium and it's worth it. Yeah. Premium, you guys, is good because you don't get no damn commercials. I have premium and I'm a content creator and I got premium. So when I be watching people's stuff, I don't be getting no commercials like that. I don't. Very much so. You've been entertained. I'm glad you've been entertained. I got to work on my aesthetic though, because I was told that when you go on and you do these lives, you got to look at yourself on the TV and see how it looks aesthetically. I think my aesthetic looks good. I just maybe need a green screen so it stops doing this right here. I was knocked out, Henny. My baby bro came and woke me up. Then he said, Diddy got 7 years and he's eligible for parole in 2. I woke all the way up and ran to the internet to find you. Diddy has not been sentenced yet. The jury has not gone back. Cheryl, your brother got you because the jury has not gone back for deliberations. All right. All right. So now back to this. It says after that, Combs had D-Rock reach out to Mia, asking her to say something that wasn't true. You remember how Mia responded? She'd witnessed him slam Cassie's head into a surface. D-Rock had seen it too. Yet there he was asking Mia to go along with the lie. Baby. Look, while they over here trying to deliberate and debate over Diddy's life, I'm over here trying to deliberate and debate if I want garlic Parmesan wings or if I want me some mild spicy wings. Because I'm finna cook, but I don't feel like frying no chicken. You look good, especially with your new hairstyle. It's fire and very appropriate for the courtroom. Yeah. But I'm about to take this bad boy down now. I need to wash my hair. This case, let me just say this about being in the energy. Thank you so much for the super sticker, Cheryl. I appreciate you. Thank you. You're door dashing for a margarita. Damn, I need one of those. But let's go to what I was about to say. Being in the courtroom yesterday, I got to converse with people and all of that, but I was really like taking it all in, right? And I'm noticing that as everyone is like smiling and having their own conversations, you could hear the murmurs of the courtroom. And while that's going on, I'm looking over at Diddy and I'm absorbing everything that's going on. And I'm saying to myself, all of us are sitting here smiling. People are smiling. People are laughing in their conversations, not at him. So don't get it twisted. Things are going on, in the normal conversations. People are talking about content. People are talking about this. They're talking about that. They're talking about people who've been caught lying. They've been talking about all of that stuff. And I'm looking at Diddy and I'm saying to myself, as we're on this side in the gallery, just living our lives, that man is fighting for his life right now. And it was just to see the parallels of the two worlds in one space. It was like something to really take in, like, damn, like we're sitting over here talking about the importance of thumbnails and content and news outlets and things of that nature. And while we're talking about this stuff, this man's life is literally dangling in the balance. And then you look and you see as the proceedings are going on, you're looking like I've seen them from the camera view at his kids sitting there. But you're sitting there and you're looking at his children as they sit there and they're looking forward and they're just seeing the back of their dad's head and they're hearing everything that's going on. So they're not getting to see his face. They don't get to see his emotions. They don't get to see none of that. What they're seeing is him sitting there and whispering to the lawyers and all of that. And they're looking at the people that are telling these stories. And to think his sons sat there, his mother sat there damn near the whole time and watched as the witnesses took the stands and spoke to their account of things. So I'm just looking at the parallel of it like, wow, like it's different when it's you. Like I've been in the courtroom for loved ones and it's different when it's you. You don't really look at everything that's going on. And I was actually sitting on the last bench in the gallery. So I'm really looking at everything. And I'm looking at people taking notes and people being tuned in. I'm also looking at people that are doing this. There was a lot of people that were falling asleep in there yesterday, content creators and news anchors, nodding the hell off, okay? And I was looking, and I ain't telling who it was, needless to don't ask me. But I seen everybody who was nodding, and one of them was nodding real bad, baby. I mean, and then they would jump up and like try to shake it off and write a little bit in their notebook, and then they sit down and yeah. So it's getting to everyone, y'all. And it ain't just the testimony or the person who's talking. It's being in the courtroom. Everybody's tired now. All right, so here we go. Back into the story, all right? As the federal investigation intensified, the pressure on Mia didn't stop. D-Rock called her 5 times in a row. That wasn't a coincidence. That was strategy. Look at the chart. Miss Shanker showed you. It connects the dots, all right? That was the way the defendant treated Mia. That wasn't just manipulation. That was witness tampering. That was obstruction. Let's not forget the intercontinental assault video and everyone saw. Combs tried to bury that too. The bribery, that's bribery. That's obstruction. Yeah, she breaking this down and saying, you, if you choose not to see what she's saying, that's a choice that you're making at this particular point in time. That's what she's saying. She's saying if you choose not to see it, that's a choice that you are making right now. I'm going to get the garlic parmesan, you guys. No, I want the mild spicy wings. I'm sorry. While we wait, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to prepare myself for my dinner. Booyah. When I'm able to say what I need to say to y'all, y'all will understand what's going on. Why this is so important right now. My dinner is very important to me. I'm going in there. I'm going to go make me some spaghettis. And I'm going to have me some wings with my spaghettis. A lot of y'all eat fish and spaghetti. I like chicken and chicken wings and spaghetti. Okay. No garlic breads. No, none of that. That's what I'm having. I should get me a salad, but man, this storm from last night keeps kicking my internet and electricity on and off, pissing me off. I'm trying to get hot Henny. Girl, we trying to do the hot Henny. I've never done this to this magnitude, so this is brand new. All right, for years, Combs had gone to great lengths to hide his crimes, but when the truth started spilling out, he didn't turn inward and reflect. He turned to his inner circle, desperate to silence the people who could bring him down. Listen to the call. In 2023, Combs told a tearful Jane, "I just need to tell you that I need your friendship." It wasn't a show of concern. It was manipulation. She had just read Cassie's lawsuit. She saw the mirror of her own trauma, and he knew it. Yes, I just swallowed hard because, damn. Look, I want to say I'm also thoroughly impressed with the way that this is going, but it's like, damn. She said, "What's wrong?" There's nothing wrong with me. Dinner is just very important right now. I didn't have no breakfast. I ain't have no lunch. So dinner got to be hitting, baby. Dinner has got to be hitting. It's got to slap. It's got to slap. Do you hear me? It's got to slap. Now, why did my son-in-law leave the ice on the floor, y'all? He left it on the floor, y'all. Y'all know how I am about my ice. He left it on the floor, y'all. I'm going to get him for that. I'm going to get him. Mm-hmm. Can y'all hear that? If y'all can hear that, I'm going to mute. Okay, first of all, y'all know that I like ice. Okay, if you're new here, I like ice a lot. Before you say it's anemic, it's an anxiety thing. But anyway, this is a complete full breakdown. Like, as we're reading these tweets, they're painting the picture very well. I didn't think they were going to be. I know that this is their job and that's what they're supposed to do at closing, but I didn't think they were going to be able to paint the picture this well. And I know that that's messed up to say, but my expectations weren't that high for them to come back with a slam dunk smoking closing. It wasn't. Because I honestly was feeling like, what can they say to us that's gonna really like be like, whoa. But it's not so much what they're telling us, it's the way they're telling the story. And I really wish that I had waited until all the tweets were out, but I know you guys were looking for me. And I realized something, that over the course of these weeks, people have begun to depend on me for these morning lives, for these afternoon updates, for the after court update, and maybe even a later on at night video. People have really begun to look for me for those things. So when I start slacking in those things, I start letting people down. People start having to go elsewhere to get their information. And that's cool. But the people who come to me for what I bring, I'm letting them down because they're not getting what they come here for. So I figured if I waited until close to 3 o'clock, that it would be good to go ahead and tweet. But I read the tweets. But I also was thinking that court was going to be over at 3. But court is over at 5, which means there's a whole nother half an hour that's going to go down in that courtroom. So Asus Slavik is not done yet. She's just getting there. And what I will tell you is, with the prosecution going first thing in the morning tomorrow, they may take up all of the morning. And then the government has to come back and the government has to give their rebuttal. But I think the jury may be really listening to what's being said, because now this is where you understand everything in the closing arguments. But Slavik is really doing a good job, because just imagine, we're not getting the full transcript. We're getting the notes that are being put up for us by the P. Diddy trial updates. Melvin said, let this be a lesson to the rest of these circus clowns. I'm saying, the way that they're tying all of this, these everyday things that people were saying, like, oh, this is that, and that is this, and this, and this, and this, and this, they're showing you. And I am very proud of myself. If nobody else is, I know you guys are that are here regularly, but I'm very proud of myself, because as I was breaking this case down, piece by piece, predicate act by predicate act, and lining it up with pieces of the story and who corroborated this and all of that, I was on point. And I'm very proud of myself, because I took the time to research, I took the time to study, and I took the time to actually pay attention and not just be about clicks, likes, and views. Because if it was all about clicks, likes, and views, baby, I could be out here doing all types of things. And I'm not going to sway one way because that's the popular opinion. And I'm not going to sway another way because that's where I see the clicks, likes, and views are at. I'm always going to move with integrity and intelligence. That's just me. And I'm proud of myself, because this is the first time that I've ever covered a case in this manner. And I pretty much have understood what was being laid out before us. But like I said to you guys before, I'm disappointed and let down that the defense didn't even come and counter this. So I didn't get the chance to actually give y'all the coverage of, okay, y'all, so the defense was on today, and baby, let me tell you what was said. I didn't get a chance to do that because they snatched that moment away from everybody. And I don't think people realize that. I think people are trying to spin into what it could be, but we did miss we missed a moment. We missed a moment for full coverage. So we just covered it fully to what they gave us, but we didn't get a full case. There was no defense. The defense came back with text messages that everybody walked the hell out on. When I say everybody, I mean there were YouTubers and mainstream media walking out of that courtroom because we're like, yo, we're done. We don't want to hear no more. We heard these text messages already. Oops. All right. So Combs wasn't apologizing. He was gaslighting. Combs knew Jane had just read Cassie's lawsuit and saw the haunting similarities. His message wasn't about healing. It was about control. He was rewriting the past, not making amends. After Cassie's lawsuit was filed and quietly settled, Mia received a call from D-Rock. He downplayed the abuse, saying they fought like any couple, but he sounded nervous. She didn't return Combs's calls later. Later, D-Rock offered to send her something, and she refused. Thank you, Miss Tiff. Now, this is going into, what Mia was on the stand talking about with that phone call from D-Rock where she was lying to him, telling him that she was scuba diving and didn't have her phone. She just didn't want to be involved. I swear to you, all of these Uber delivery people have the same name. Mama Do. I don't know if those are, I'm just going, whatever. Henny, I love your coverage and conversation, not only on this case, but all around. I love your content. Thank you, K Pearl. I appreciate you. So yeah, you guys are welcome. Like, I do this for y'all. But this was my first time, and I have to say it was a good experience, and it's a good resume to have, like, as this is my starting point. Whoa. If this is my starting point, what's next? What's next? It's only up from here. Hi, Zamona. You found me? Because a lot of people can't find me. I think court might be ending soon. Okay. Combs is guilty. For years, he got away with it. Not because it wasn't happening, but because of who he was. His wealth, his fame, his influence. They shielded him. But that shield cannot last forever. Not in this courtroom. Not anymore. Combs is guilty. For years, he got away with it. Not because it wasn't happening, but because of who he was. His wealth, his fame, his influence. They shielded him. But that shield cannot last forever. Not in this courtroom. Not anymore. Is that where they left us at? I know this ain't where they left us at. I know that's not where they left us at. Did we just get left off on Bad and Bougie? If he's guilty of racketeering, they seize his properties? Yes. Forfeiture. Forfeiture. And they have a forfeiture there. Yes. What I'm going to say to you is, I don't understand the forfeiture part, though. They need to explain that, because at the end of the day, I'm going to say this. He did not take in any revenue or profit that was illegal into his businesses. And I guess what they're trying to say is because his legal business paid for his illegal life, that's why they're going after the business to crumble the legitimate business that covers the criminal acts, because then the criminal acts get crumbled as well. I don't know if that's what, 111 in the chat. I don't know if that's what they're saying, but I don't know. Like, I don't know why they would like. But again, I have to step out of looking at this as La Cosa Nostra and how we've known it to be all along. If Combs Enterprise or Combs Global, whatever it is, bad boy, if those businesses are funding illegal activities, then that would be where the forfeiture would come in at, for sure. Like, looking at it, that would be. But y'all know I have a conspiracy theory on that too. Yeah, gold digger. Right. Crumble the empire that afforded him a life of crime. That can't be how she ended it. All right. It's time to hold. Oh, we gotta wait a minute. Hold on. Hold on. Let's read all of this together. Let's read it all together. Combs is guilty. For years, he got away with it. Not because it wasn't happening, but because of who he was. His wealth, his fame, his influence. They shielded him. But that shield cannot last forever. Not in this courtroom, not anymore. It's time to hold him accountable. It's time to find him guilty. It's time for justice. Crime after crime, year after year. Combs kept going because he had power to bury the truth. But that ends now. Agnifilo, please, I need to see what you finna do. Okay, let's see. Melvin said, as a former owner, put it all in the business, which means the money's paid for this. Right. Okay. Princess says the IRS going to take his property anyway because they're going to disallow all of his tax deductible business expenses because he was hiding sex work and drug expenses in legitimate business. Yeah. Yeah. Because you can write a ton of expenses under the business tax breaks. Yep. So that's what I'm saying. Crumble, like Gold Digger put what I was thinking into words. Crumble the empire that afforded him a life of crime. Now, it also says that Slavik finally rests after 5 hours. Sheesh. She went for 5 hours. 5 hours. She gave us 5 hours of closing, you guys. That's crazy work. 5 hours of closing. Sheesh. Well, you guys, I wanted to give y'all this as it was going so that you guys would be up to date in what was going on. But has RICO been established? Has RICO been established? That's the question, the $1 million question of the day. Has RICO been established? RICO. What is that? I don't know what that is. A hockey puck? Salute to you. They're saying yes. 5 hours of closing. What's her cash at? Right? Yes, 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 RICO. Well, you guys, that's going to do it for this video. You're welcome. Tomorrow, I will be live from the courthouse. I will cover the defense's closing. Yeah, y'all are saying RICO has been established. I am going to go vertical live a little later on, and we're going to talk about it over there. You know, that's where people come in at. So we're going to see what everybody has to say. But I just wanted to give y'all what was going on blow by blow, bit by bit, so that y'all could see what was happening. I don't know. If I don't go tomorrow, then we'll do the live tweets again with P. Diddy trial updates. They're very thorough. I like them. You know, shout out to them. Salute to them. And also shout out to Inner City Press. You know, Inner City Press, he does his thing. That's who we started out with. No, you know, we're not going, you know, I want y'all to see this before we leave. This is an artist sketch of Diddy's family in the courtroom. So you see the girls, you see Chase, you see the twins, you see Mama Combs. I believe that's King sitting on one side. I don't know who that is sitting on the opposite side of King. And then you see right here, this is where I'm going. So here is Chance. Here are the twins. This is Janice, Mama Combs. That would be King Combs. This is Justin. This is Quincy. I'm not sure who this is with this scarf on their head or who this is that's sitting there. But this is a picture of the family that was sitting. Oh, y'all can't see it? Hold on. Why y'all can't see? Oh, I didn't add it to the stage. My bad. All right. So again, here is Chance, the twins, Janice, King, Justin, and Quincy. I'm not sure who this is. This may be Baby Love's mom. I'm not sure who this is. This may be Janice's friend. I'm not sure. But this is the family as they sat in court today. All right. So at the end of the day, these are the people that are going to be affected the most by all of this. And I don't think oftentimes when people are doing things, they don't think about who is going to be affected by the things that they are doing. And at the end, they're sitting on that bench right there. Starting from King all the way to Quincy. They're the ones that are going to be affected by this. Y'all still don't see it. Not all evicted for a fire sale. Melvin. Okay. What'd you say? You said, please go. I love seeing you by the courthouse. You're so beautiful. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Welcome to the bar, Melvin. Don't be a stranger. Uh-oh. 420 said, Diddy done. Did you say that in your Wendy Williams voice? Because remember, Wendy said that. She said, Diddy done, Diddy done. I don't know. Let's hear what the defense has to say, because the defense, remember, the defense has the burden of making sure that they poke holes in what the prosecution has to say and that they plant those seeds of reasonable doubt within the jury's minds. But we also have to remember that after the defense rests, the government comes back with a rebuttal to what they've said. So this is war, and this is just day one, okay? What do you mean my energy is different when I'm reporting from the courthouse? I feel like I'm all over the place when I report from the courthouse because I be so distracted looking at everything that's going on. Oh, you want me to point out everyone again? Okay. So starting from the left from the gentleman in the far right here with the glasses, this is Quincy. This is Justin. This is Chance. These are the twins. This is Janice right here, and this is King. And I'm not sure who she is or who she is in the back. All right. Nah, you be hyped up to me. Oh, because I be coming out of that courtroom, I gotta hype myself up like y'all, because I have like the Henny for real, like y'all. I got the Henny. At home, I just be laid back, like what's popping, y'all. So let me tell y'all what's going on. I will say this: defense got their job cut out for them. So. But anyway, y'all, everyone is out from court. I'm quite sure y'all want to go hear what people have to say. Thank y'all for tapping in and tuning in with me. Thank you if you are on the replay gang. I appreciate y'all as well. Make sure y'all thumbs up this video. Stay active in the chat, and I'll see y'all in the next spill. Peace, everybody.